NFL draft is quickly approaching, and with that will come dream draft fits and dream draft NFL scenarios. In today's video, we're going to be discussing draft prospects, dream scenarios in terms of a player to an NFL team, meaning the place where they can maximize their success and become the best version of themselves as a future NFL player. Now, these are going to be realistic, and we're going to try not to make them too obvious, as I'm not going to spend a whole segment or a whole minute and a half to 2 minutes talking about Trevor to the Jags, because whether Trevor likes it or not, that's happening. But before we get started, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as each only take a second to do, and it would be very much appreciated. Now let's begin. We're going to begin today's video with Minnesota wide receivers Rashod Bateman. He is a big-bodied receiver, and a lot of the time you hear about players playing either above the rim or bigger than their size, and he is a perfect example of this. Not that he compares to him, because he absolutely does not in terms of playing style, but Tyreek Hill was measured at 5'8" at his pro day back in 2016, but there have been times where he wins jump balls over much taller players, and Tyreek definitely plays bigger than what he was measured at. Bateman is the same way, but he's 6'2" and plays like he's 6'4" or even 6'5". He is a good route runner and will immediately contribute to a team, and whatever team drafts him will be getting a good player. There is a possibility he has the impact of a Chase Claypool statistically type rookie year, as Chase finished with nearly 900 yards and 11 touchdowns in his rookie season this past year. That type of production isn't out of the question for Bateman if he goes to the dream scenario, and for today's video, that is the Baltimore Ravens. For as good as the Ravens have been since becoming a franchise in 1996, they are known for defense, for Jonathan Ogden, for Justin Tucker, and for the 2012 Ravens. They are not known for number one receivers by any means, as the receivers Lamar Jackson has worked with so far in his career are Willie Snead, Devin Duvernay, Marquise Brown, and a 32-year-old Dez Bryant. Marquise can be a solid NFL receiver for some time, and probably close to the next decade, as he's only 23 years old and will be 24 at the start of next season, but to say he's the number one and actually expect him to have 100 catches in a year and 1,500 yards, I don't see that happening. So that's why Rashod Bateman would be the perfect receiver for Baltimore. Rashod can be the number one guy, and this would be the most ideal landing spot for him. Yes, I am fully aware of the Ravens having Mark Andrews at tight end, and he is a great tight end at that, but the Ravens' offense would be nearly complete if they do land Bateman. They need this big-bodied guy to be able to do that, and this is absolutely my favorite fit in the entire draft. Now, a quick side note, if Rashod does not go there and he's off the board by then, I would love Rashod to go to the Chicago Bears. Next is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, a linebacker out of Notre Dame. He is not only a great player, but barring injury of course, should translate to the NFL rather fluently with his style of play and with his physical abilities. He's a linebacker that's listed at 6'1", 215, and he's light for a linebacker, and I don't mean that in the sense of he gets bullied and pushed around, but I mean it in the sense of how fast he is and how critical he was to Notre Dame's defense last year. And there's actually two teams I would love him to go to, and they make sense for pretty much the same reason. If you're the Broncos or the Raiders, how do you stop, or at least try and stop, Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert for the next decade? Corner would obviously help, but so would Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, or as he is referred to on draft Twitter, JOK. He is an elite player, and the film certainly points to him being a good player at the next level. I love the concept and the idea of him being matched up against Travis Kelce and being the next Travis Kelce equalizer, but just being completely honest and as real with you guys as I can, he's not going to be that player in year one. Having a great, fast, athletic linebacker is a way to combat what the Chiefs and Chargers have going on, and he would certainly help either one of these teams. Now, as much as I do like him as a prospect, he would be a little rich for the Broncos at 9, admittedly, meaning the value isn't quite there. But for the Raiders at 17, this is great value, and for him going from Notre Dame to the Raiders, this would be more than ideal for Jeremiah. He, like Bateman, is one of my favorite prospects in the entire draft, and this is a fit that I absolutely love. Now we have to discuss one of the more controversial prospects in the draft, and that is Gregory Rousseau coming out of the University of Miami. The concern regarding Rousseau definitely is not his size or his physical abilities, most of them to be clear. The concern is he relies too much on his natural strength rather than technique, and not only that, he wasn't a great rusher off the edge during his lone season at Miami, and a lot of his pressure came from the inside at nose tackle. Simply put, Greg won't be an interior rusher at the next level, and due to that, there is a lot of concern about him. That's not the only concern, but there's a lot of concern about him. He will more than likely be overdrafted, because surely one NFL team will see 6'7", 265, length, strength, speed, and think they can coach him up, or they can do this, or they can do that, and you get what I'm saying. But he doesn't have a great first step, and I'm going to be honest, his tape is definitely concerning. But for the sake of this video, the best place he can go to is Minnesota for a few reasons. There's a player similar, though not exactly the same there, and that is veteran and multiple-time Pro Bowler Danielle Hunter. Danielle is one of the best in the league at what he does, and not only that, but whether you guys know this or not, Minnesota has a very good defensive line coach in Andre Patterson. Andre is one of the best in the business, and he has been credited largely to grooming Everson Griffin, Brian Robinson, who retired a couple years ago, and of course Danielle and Linval Joseph, getting him to be at the top of his game. But this would be the perfect place for him to go, because he could learn every day from a great player and a veteran player in Danielle Hunter, and this is an underrated player he could learn from as well, and that is Stephen Weatherly. The Vikings just re-signed him, and Stephen is by no means a household name, nor am I claiming that, but he is very valued in the NFL. He is the epitome of a pass rusher that can be a good rotational rusher and be a spot start guy if the team needs it, and these guys a lot of the time are unsung heroes of NFL teams. Remember, the Eagles won a Super Bowl in 2017 largely due to players like this, and that postseason run alone showed how valuable rotational pass rushers are. Weatherly also is extremely smart and a great leader, and would be perfect to help Rousseau's career path and help him out during his rookie year in the Twin Cities. Next, and the second to last prospect we'll discuss for today's video, is Mac Jones out of Alabama. Now, Mac is a prospect who's had a lot of criticism in the draft process, but recently it seems that he could very well go in the top half of the first round and ultimately the top 12 picks. Now, I myself thought Mac at a point was destined to fail, as a lot of us were in the draft community, but don't get me wrong, he can be if he goes to a terrible situation, which, again, to be fair to Mac, most young quarterbacks would. But he makes today's video, and the dream scenario for him is the New Orleans Saints. As we know, they are in cap hell, and before any Saints fans comment, yes, I know Mickey Loomis is a good GM when it comes to that, and yes, I know he will probably take care of things, so yes, we get it, I fully get it. But this would be a dream fit for both sides, and here's why. Mac is not a player that should be tossed to the wolves of the NFL and be in a situation similar to what Sam Darnold was in all of 2020, because if he is, he will not surprisingly fail. The Saints make absolute perfect sense, and for multiple reasons. Sean Payton is a great head coach. Michael Thomas is a phenomenal receiver, and I quite frankly don't care about Slant Boy or anything else the people on Twitter say or anything else, any other criticism for him. 149 catches does not happen by accident, period, and that's coming from a Vikings fan. He is a phenomenal receiver, end of discussion. And of course, as if that's not enough, and as if Michael Thomas wouldn't be a best friend to a rookie quarterback, they also have a pretty good running back named Alvin Kamara, who's a stud in his own rights. Between handing him the ball or simply being a receiver out of the backfield, Kamara, that is obviously not Michael Thomas, Mac would be in a favorable situation right away, as he would have everything a rookie quarterback could hope for. A Super Bowl champion head coach, an All-Pro and former Offensive Player of the Year award winner receiver, and a stud of a running back. Now, if you're watching yourself thinking, and well, duh, we could place Trevor here, well, let's be honest and think out loud for a sec. Nobody outside of Jacksonville is going to have a shot at Trevor. Nobody outside of the top 8 is going to have a shot at Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance. So now Mac probably will not last to New Orleans, so they may have to trade up for him. But the reality is nobody outside the top 8 will have a shot at any of those other quarterbacks either. And New Orleans and Mac Jones, with what he's had help with in college with players like Najee, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle, this, all in all, makes perfect sense, and Mac Jones in New Orleans would be great, and he very well could be the next franchise quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. The final player we go to for today's video is Jamarr Chase coming out of LSU. Now, Jamarr is the best receiver in this class, and there really shouldn't be debate about it, and there's 2 teams that would make the most sense for him to go to. He won't be off the board past 6th overall, and those 2 teams we're going to discuss are the Dolphins and the Eagles. Now, for the Dolphins, it's pretty obvious why he should go there. They need a number 1 receiver, they have a young quarterback, and when you pair a young quarterback with a young receiver, it fixes 2 problems in one for a decade. Now, the Dolphins as a team are very good, and they have a very bright future, so the likelihood that they're selecting this high again, and granted it was from the Texans, so what I mean is the actual pick that they have, they won't be selecting with their own pick in the top 3 for probably at least a decade, hopefully 2 decades. So take Jamarr, get it out of the way, he's done, position solved, until they need a second receiver, but you get what I'm saying. Now for the Eagles, they need help at that position. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is obviously not good, and Jalen Reagor can be good, but as of now, it doesn't look good to say the least. So if Jamarr falls, which again, I don't expect it to, I think the top 3 picks are set in stone right now, with 1 being Trevor, 2 being Zach Wilson, and 3 being Jamarr. Anyways, if for some reason Jamarr does fall, the Eagles have to get right on top of that. He would make perfect sense to go there. He has that dog mentality that Philly fans absolutely love, and he would be a terrific fit there. And it would be the same situation that we have in Miami, just a little north. Jalen Hurts and Jamarr Chase would be phenomenal for the next 10 years, and it would be something Philly fans, myself, and the NFL would like to see. Philly fans having a true number 1 receiver would be the first time in a while, probably since T.O., where a true number 1, maybe Deshaun Jackson, but not getting into debates. But Jamarr Chase in Philly would be terrific, and it is something that needs to happen if he falls past Miami, which again, I don't expect it to. But anyways, with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second to do, and it would be very much appreciated. Now, as you know, by today's video, we went with the face cam, so we're probably going to do that more often. By the way, I also am on TikTok, so I make minute-long videos to really just discuss everything on TikTok. So follow me on there for more football analysis content. Until next time, love you guys, deuces, peace.